Hello and welcome to the Paderborn New Zealand English podcast. Back for another week, another episode, and it is the 10th or 11th episode of the podcast this week. Into double figures for the year, and yeah, we're into March. So thank you all for joining me. And if you do enjoy the podcast, please do give it a like on YouTube and subscribe as well, or on the podcast apps. I think you can rate the podcast, review it, subscribe to it. All those things mean a lot to me, and keeps motivation to do it. So please do that if you enjoy the podcast. But today we are going to look at the last game of the season, which was away in Regensburg against Jan Regensburg. 0-0 draw for Paderborn. We will get onto that. And then in the second half of the podcast, we will look at SC Paderborn's next match, which is actually the last game before the international break and the final international break of the season, which is against Kaiserslautern on Saturday next. This week it will be. Yeah, this Saturday for Paderborn. And then there's an international break for us to have a recap of kind of the previous quarter of the season or something like that, and we will kind of recap everything that's happened and then look towards the final stretch of the season, which consists of about 6 games or so, maybe more, 7 or 8, something like that. So we'll get onto that, and we will do that next week. We will look at the game against Kaiserslautern, and then we will have sort of a recap on what's happened, and then we'll have a podcast the week after that, which will then preview FCK in full. So we should then begin with the a sort of recap of the Jan Regensburg match, which was 0-0. We say in English 0-0, 0-0, 0-0. Boring, possibly. You could probably use that as the adjective for the match in Regensburg. Wasn't an attractive football match. Kicker ranked it 4 out of 5 in terms of how good it was. In Kicker's ranking, it isn't 4 out of 5 is good. It is 4 out of 5 is bad. Obviously, best in Kicker is 1. So, it was ranked sort of 4 out of 5 for how bad it was in terms of that. Yeah, it wasn't a good game of football. Paderborn just didn't have enough to win the game. Regensburg were very, very compact, difficult to break down. Didn't really offer much themselves, to be honest. Which I was expecting them to be a little bit more kind of open. Not in terms of like the whole game they were going to be pushing everyone forward. I just thought, with them it needed to be a must win for them, must win game. Especially because they were lucky. Braunschweig only just drew against Hanover. Ulm were very unlucky again. They've sacked their coach now, by the way, which is very interesting too. But yeah, I really did think that Regensburg would kind of go for it a little bit more than they actually did. And in the end, yeah, Regensburg haven't scored in like 4 of the last 5 games. So, definitely something that they're struggling with. And yeah, we just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net, unfortunately, in this game. And I thought we had enough chances to win it. But at the end of the day, it's a point for Paderborn, which at this part of the season, you would obviously look at a game against Jan Regensburg and say, well, like I said in the preview podcast, it's almost like a must win for us. But in terms of the way the game went, it was just like the longer the game went on, obviously the less time you had, but the more Regensburg believed that they could get something. And that's how they've been doing at home recently. They've made teams, the top teams in the league, work very hard. Hamburg were a team to draw against Regensburg as well. I'm pretty sure Köln had a very tough game against them. Magdeburg only beat them 1-0 as well. It's not been an easy place for teams to go, and that was proven against Regensburg at the weekend. So I think we should probably begin with the lineup which Lukas Kwasniok went and picked. Manuel Riemann was in goal again for us. It was a back three of Hofmeier, Goetze and Jacques Scheller. Midfield was Overmare, Castaneda, Melem, Zenta, and then the front three was Philip Bilbia, Ilias Anza, and Casper Tejo. On the bench for Paderborn, Schubert was on the bench as the backup goalkeeper. Then you had Lauren Kerder, Adriano Grimaldi, Sven Michel, Matthias Hansen, Luca Hermann, and then two guys from the under-21s. Tristan Zobel, who is a young defender who is actually the captain of the under-21 team. He's a 21-year-old, born in 2003. He's played a total of 38 games in the Regionalliga West, 25 games in the Regionalliga Südwest, was formerly of Kaiserslautern, then Koblenz, and has been at Paderborn since 2023, the summer of 2023. Played 11 games this season, and he's the new captain of he has been the new captain of the under-21s since then. As he was on the bench, and Yashaban as well, who has been on the bench and had a few cameos this season. Obviously, a lot of you guys will know a bit about Yasha, who's obviously brother to Julian Brandt of Borussia Dortmund, formerly of Werder Bremen, for quite a few years, and then moved to Paderborn in the 2023 summer, as well as Zobel. Has played 2 games in the Zweite Bundesliga to date. Scored 3 goals this season in the Regionalliga West for the under-21s. So yeah, he was on the bench as well. But yeah, it really was a difficult game. Didn't get going really in the match, to be honest. And yeah, I think it was very much a difficult point where, yeah, you look at it and say, well, we should have probably won the game in this promotion fight, but you have to do with the draw you got. So yeah, sorry, the one change that we made was Brackerman, who obviously suffered the torn muscle issue. He wasn't in the team, and as such, Santiago Castaneda moved into midfield with Jacques Scheller back in defence, who obviously Scheller played in midfield for a few games there. But yeah, we had a good chance actually early on in the second minute. It was a free kick from the left, sort of a dangerous chance. Then Regensburg had a good opportunity as well. Riemann kind of got himself into trouble, but Goetze made the clearance. Riemann sort of went out of his goal in that moment. But yeah, it was all right. We had control of the game as was expected. Bilbao with a pretty decent chance on 18 minutes, but Pollersbeck was there. We had another few good opportunities in 32nd and 38th minute. Goetze and Ilias Anza. But Regensburg had a chance on the 40th minute. It was Ernst who hit the side netting after a corner. And yeah, it was 0-0 at half-time. But the one thing which I shall mention is that Jack Scheller was off on 34 minutes. He was replaced by Lauren Kerder. I'm not actually sure if it was an injury for Scheller or it was just like he had a yellow card earlier in the game and Lucas Gosnick wanted to take him off because he was just kind of having a few fouls. He committed 2 fouls in the game, had a yellow card from one of them. And yeah, it was kind of difficult to grasp it from the press conference. It was like kind of like injury plus yellow card problem. So yeah, Scheller is not going to be available for the game against Kaiserslautern, I believe, because of his 5th yellow card, which Lucas Gosnick was asked about that and actually said, yeah, I didn't actually know about that. So that was quite funny. And then, yeah, the first half really, when you look at the statistics, you know, we kind of controlled it. We had 2 big chances in the first half, missed both of them. We had 7 shots to their 2 on target. They didn't have a shot on target, but they did have a big chance, which I believe was the Ernst chance, which was off the side netting. But yeah, we created 0.73 XG in the first half, so you really would have expected us to at least score one of the big chances. And yeah, seems to have been a little bit of a problem this season. Just like big chances where you can take control of a game and get the lead. and too many times we've missed them, and then the other team has gone and scored the first goal. Luckily, Regensburg are that bad. Respect to Regensburg, but luckily they are not a very good team. That they didn't really offer much in the whole game, so we didn't have to worry about that. But yeah, slightly frustrating sometimes. The amount of big chances we miss is annoying, I have to say. Yes, the second half. What happened? Written down some stuff. First chance really went to Regensburg. Hotman with a header, but it went just over the crossbar. But we just controlled the game, but just didn't create enough good chances really. Just a lot of harmless crosses that just kind of didn't create much. Adriano Grimaldi was brought on, by the way, at half time for physicality. It was Lucas Kwasniok who said in the press conference that Grimaldi, we just needed more physicality in the game, and it was something that I mentioned in the pre-match too. That just needed more physicality in the team, and he brought on Grimaldi at half time to do that, and we'll get on to a few of his chances now. But yeah, we got to the 79th minute here. Free kick from Zentar, misplaced. A few minutes after, it was actually Felix Goetz who made a little mistake, kind of lost the ball. But Kulveta had a shot from about 20-25 meters, and that was well over the crossbar. But yeah, few kind of scary moments, but not enough to kind of like be like, oh, we're getting dominated here. You know, there were very few chances for Regensburg over the 90 minutes. But the last chance was really a good chance and could have stolen the 3 points against Regensburg. After a corner, Grimaldi, it was Pollersbeck who missed the ball, and Grimaldi had the chance from a header. It was like the perfect moment. Ball in from Zenta onto Grimaldi's head. He pretty much had an open goal, and he headed it onto the crossbar. So that was it. 0-0, 0-0, 0-0. A draw for Paderborn. I thought we had enough chances really overall, but we just didn't create enough, you know, especially when you kind of thinking who we were playing against. Obviously it was a tough environment, but you know, over the game we had 14 shots, only 3 on target. I suppose you could say the Grimaldi shot was like the biggest chance, but it wasn't classed as on target. But yeah, again, we had one big chance in the second half, which was a Grimaldi effort. And yeah, Regensburg didn't have a shot on target in the game, so they had 5 shots over the 2 halves of football, none on target. So when you kind of put it that way, you're playing a pretty garbage team, tough environment, but look, we just... it's always a tough game to analyse. You have to say, look, we have to get the 3 points, but the 1 point is kind of like satisfactory in some ways because we didn't kind of play well enough to deserve the win. I thought we had the chances, but look, you've got to take the chances, and that's, I suppose, what a promotion team would do. Especially when you're so good defensively. I mean, the one mistake from Goetz was kind of the only chance they had, and actually the Riemann kind of mistake as well. But overall, I genuinely think that we could have done more, and we should have probably done more over the 90 minutes. We're lucky that they're not very good, because I think we've had a few away games now. I think back to Ulm and Munster, where we're kind of lucky that the other team isn't that good, that we get 3 clean sheets in these games and win 2, draw 1. Should have been 3 wins really from the kind of away games against the teams in the relegation fight. But you have to remember, Regensburg are fighting for their lives. You know, it's not like it's a Schalke, for example, or something like that, who literally have pretty much nothing to kind of play for anymore. So yeah, it is a bit of a different game in that sense, but yeah, we should have won. We needed to win. It's a draw. There's still 9 matches left, but this is one of the games that I kind of keep mentioning where you look back at the end of the season, if you're 2 points back of third or whatever, you think, oh, imagine if we could have just got the 3 points in Regensburg. Imagine if we could have just got a point against Fürth when we lost. these games, they can come back and you look at them and you say, well, we should have done better there. But look, it's a draw. We're unbeaten in a lot of games since the third game, at least. And we are in good form right now, and you can't deny that. We've lost 5 games out of 25. Do you take that over the season? I think you probably do overall. So yeah, got to move on. Tough game, difficult draw. One of those where you kind of analyze it and you say, well, you should have won, but you didn't. And yeah, we're fifth in the table now, 42 points. 1 point behind Kaiserslautern. We can go 2 points ahead of them next week. This week, next match. We're 2 points behind Köln in second, who won against Ulm, and we're 3 points behind Hamburg, who also won against Düsseldorf. So, yes, I will take a quick break, and then we'll get on to Kaiserslautern in the next match. Hello, welcome back to the FC Paderborn Knows Even English podcast. We are back for the second part of today's episode, which is a preview. We're looking ahead to the next game for Paderborn against Kaiserslautern, who are third in the league, in that promotion playoff spot right now. They're on 43 points with 12 wins, 7 draws, and 6 losses. They've scored 43 goals over this season, conceded 35. That is a +8 goal difference. In the last match, Kaiserslautern drew at home to Elversberg. They beat Jan Regensburg 3-0, and the last defeat came 3 match days ago against Hamburg when they lost 3-0 in the Topspiel. So Kaiserslautern then, it is a big game for Paderborn, a big game for Kaiserslautern. It could be a 3-point swing either way here, or the points are shared. Paderborn win, go 2 points ahead of Kaiserslautern on 45 points. Kaiserslautern win, and they will go 4 points above Paderborn. So we're getting to the point of the season now where a 4-point gap is quite substantial, especially when you're going to hit the next international break, literally next week. So once you hit that final international break, it's like, yeah, when we get on the other side of that, we are really into the, huge part of the season. There'll be 8 games left, and it's pretty much like every game is massive and kind of elevated and heightened, and the pressure builds. But yeah, it's a huge game for Paderborn, obviously, at home. The next 2 games are at home. We open back up after the international break with a home game against FC Köln, who very much could be top of the league by the end of next week. By the end of the weekend, we don't know how it's going to go. But yes, so this game, Kaiserslautern are missing a few key figures, including 2 ex-Paderborners. Marlon Ritter was giving his 5th yellow card. I believe it was his 5th yellow card. It might actually be his 10th yellow card. I'm not actually 100% sure. No, it is his 5th yellow card, yeah. We know Ritter is... He does get a few yellow cards anyway. So yeah, it's his 5th yellow card, so Marlon Ritter will be unavailable. Philip Clement will also be unavailable. He has a calf injury. Some other expected missing players for Kaiserslautern is Hendrik Zuck. He's got a cruciate ligament tear, so he's definitely going to be out. He's a left back for them. Jan Giermeier has got thigh issues. He is a right back for Kaiserslautern, who played 19 games over the season so far. Tajuke Yokota has some sort of wound issue. He's a right winger for them. He's played 18 games, 3 goals, 3 assists this season. And then Sean Bloom, who is ill, so he might actually be available. We'll have to see, but he is a left winger for Kaiserslautern, and he's only just joined them. No, that's wrong. He's been playing for the Kaiserslautern second team, and he's actually 15 games, 18 goals. So he's a pretty good young winger for Kaiserslautern, but Sean Blum might be unavailable for this game due to illness. Fencer Paderborn, Shark Scheller will be unavailable with his yellow card issue. Luis Engels, Calvin Brackelman, and for some reason Transfermarkt doesn't have Felix Platter on that list, but I'm guessing Felix Platter will definitely be out. I'm not sure why he's not on that list there. However, Kaiserslautern do have another ex-Paderborn in their team, Janus Hoyer. Obviously, remember him, the centre-back / right-back. He's played 19 games for Kaiserslautern this season, scored 1 goal for them. And you'll remember the game on the top spiel in matchday 9 when Kaiserslautern absolutely smashed it to Paderborn 3-0 in that game, and it was a top scorer, Ragnar Akce, with the first goal on 30 minutes, and then the game was finished off in the 87th minute by Lucas Search, and then Malon Ritter with the 3-0, if you remember that game very well. You'll remember the second yellow card was given to Lauren Kerder, also in the 94th minute. And yeah, it was Louis Engels, I believe, Louis Engels and Anton Bauerle's debuts, if I'm not mistaken, anyway, in that game. So yes, we play at home against Kaiserslautern. And the last time we played at home against Kaiserslautern, we actually lost. So yeah, we've not had the best of times against them recently. All time in the Zweite Bundesliga, Kaiserslautern have won 6, we've won 4. Last time we won against them in Paderborn was on the 17th of February 2023. It was actually Janis Hoyer with the only goal in that game against Kaiserslautern. But yeah, it was a very different team back then. It had the big striker, you remember him, Terence Boyd. What a player he was for them. But yeah, they had Ritter and Clement in the team that day, and also Robin Bournemouth too. Odds-wise, we're actually favourites by some distance in this game. Would you believe it? If you know what your odds are like, 1.75 for Paderborn to win, 3.60 for a draw, and 4.20 for a Kaiserslautern win. The odds do not show that Kaiserslautern are above Paderborn in the league. So that, yeah, you would say Kaiserslautern are pretty decimated with injuries, which is reflected in the odds of the game. But it's definitely not a game which Paderborn can just expect to win, because Kaiserslautern, as we know from the 3-0 earlier in the season, it might be a very different team who played that day, but still a very good side. Ragnar Akce is going to be in the game. He's got 13 goals this season in 21 games, so he's scoring a goal pretty much every one and a bit games. So he's very likely to score against us in the season, in the game, because he's scoring a lot in the season. But yeah, their coach is Markus Angfang, obviously former Werder Bremen head coach, who he's also Dresden as well, FC Köln at a time, Darmstadt, Kiel, came up through the Leverkusen rankings. So yeah, very, very good at this level. He's managed many games in the Zweite Bundesliga over his time. I don't know exactly how many, because it doesn't give me the information on this. But if I look at all stats, it'll probably bring up his playing career. I usually have this all brought up, but I just haven't for Angfang in this case. But if we go all seasons, we go filter by Zweite Bundesliga. He has managed, if it loads, 137 games in the Zweite Bundesliga. He's a 1.66 points per match manager. He's won 64 and lost 37. 228 points in 137 games for Angfang. Obviously, we know he's a 3 at the back coach, especially at Kaiserslautern, so we're expecting him to play a 3-4-1-2, which is exactly what Paderborn play. And yeah, if we look at some stats then of where kind of Kaiserslautern are in terms of the league total, got the 3rd best FOTMOB rating, 6th best in goals per match, 1.7, 8th best in goals conceded per match. They're 4th in clean sheets, 8th in average possession, 7th in expected goals, 4th in shots on target per match, 6th in big chances, 6th in big chances missed, 15th in touches in opposition box. So they're not a team to have many touches in the opposition box, by the way, which is interesting. 12th in accurate crosses per match, 11th in corners, 3rd worst defense in the league on XG conceded, 7th in interceptions per match, 6th in successful tackles per match, 10th in possession won in the final third per match, 7th in clearances per match, and they're 2nd in most saves per match as well. So a team that definitely concedes a lot of chances. Paderborn are going to have to be on it in their attacking. The attacking. Obviously, the Kaiserslautern got a clean sheet against us earlier in the season, so you should remember that. It's not going to be, a really easy game for Paderborn, but look, with all the injuries that Kaiserslautern have, obviously they give up chances. This could definitely be a game that Paderborn win, and the odds suggest that the injuries for Kaiserslautern really make them heavy underdogs. So kind of if we play like we did against Hamburg at the Home Deluxe Arena, I have no reason why we can't win this game, by a couple of goals, honestly. And maybe that is me being naive. And we do have to take this as a game-by-game basis. We don't know what team Kaiserslautern are going to play. We don't know who's going to be available for them. We have a very good idea that Paderborn are going to play a very similar team. We'll see what happens with Chark Scheller. Obviously, he's going to be out, so who's going to come in? Is it going to be Kerder? Probably. But yeah, it's a very interesting match. But it'll be very good to get a win and be in the top three. Obviously hoping Magdeburg, Köln, and Hamburg don't win altogether. Which I haven't checked the fixtures. I'm not sure that can happen, but let's double check on that. But yeah, we've got to win this game. I said against Hamburg before I played Hamburg that it's time to be selfish now. It's time to be selfish and want to win every home game that you play, and especially against a promotion rival. 3-point swing in this game could be huge. If they were to win, we'd be 4 points behind them with 8 games left, which is obviously enough time to bring back the gap. But are Kaiserslautern going to finish in the top 3? I don't know if they are. I don't know if they're good enough. So you've got to remember that as well. You don't want to have a big gap against a team that might not even be in the promotion places at the end of the season, because then you've got a gap against a team that shouldn't be there and probably won't be there. So that means your gap to the other teams is going to be even bigger as well. So yeah, time to be selfish, time to win. The odds suggest it. Let's do a good performance. I'm very, very pleased with the game against Hamburg. Let's repeat that. Get the first goal, control the game, and we can go into the international break. Looking at Köln in another huge game, and we can have the 3 points. We'll be on 45 points. See how Köln do. See how Hamburg do. Magdeburg, Dusseldorf still in it, sort of, I suppose, maybe. But yeah, I'm very confident, actually. A lot more confident than I was before the Hamburg game, because it's top of the league Hamburg. They're finally in top of the league after a certain match day, which they have never done since they've been relegated. For all these years, I thought maybe it's going to be a different Hamburg, but we were dominant in that game, 1-2-0, very, very comfortable. So yeah, look, Kaiserslautern are going to have chances, even though they've got injuries. Let's defend well. Let's do what we did against Hamburg. Win the big moments and take advantage of them, who going to be missing a few very, very good players for them. And yeah, all counts getting the first goal. In these games, because obviously Kaiserslautern got the first goal against us in the 30th minute at their place in the top spiel, and held out until the 87th minute and got the second goal. So be big to score first and to do to control the game in our way. And if we do that, I'm sure we can get 3 points and celebrate them into the international break. And then we can then focus on FC Köln, which would be imagine if we could beat Kaiserslautern and Köln. We'll be looking back at this 5-game stretch as 11 points out of 15, which, even with a Regensburg draw, you'd take that, wouldn't you? You beat all 3 of your promotion sides, albeit drawing against... who did we actually play in the first game of the stretch? It was only recently that we actually played them. I should know, but I can't remember who we played in that first game of the stretch of 5, where it was difficult. Obviously, Hanover in the top field, wasn't it? Obviously. So if you can go unbeaten in those 5 games, draw your away games and win your home games, I think everyone will be pretty satisfied. So let's do that, starting with Kaiserslautern at the weekend. Now let's look at the Zweite Bundesliga. So obviously, it'll be 3rd versus 5th, as it stands right now. Paderborn versus Regensburg. Paderborn versus Kaiserslautern. And the other teams... It is Magdeburg versus Hamburg on Friday afternoon. Oh, yes. What do you even hope for there? A draw? Probably. A draw would probably be the best result, because 2 points are handed out rather than 3. It's probably what you'd want from that game. Dusseldorf at home to Regensburg. They'll probably win that, you'd expect. FC Köln are in the Topspiel der Woche against Darmstadt. They're at home against Darmstadt. You would expect them to win that game, but can Darmstadt, do us a favour there? Maybe we're putting pressure on Köln if we win in the 1 o'clock game. And then, Köln have got to play in the evening. And that's pretty much it for the weekend. Sunday has got a derby between Nuremberg and Fürth, but other than that, it's a relegation for Sunday. So I probably won't be tuning in to the Sunday slate of games, really. All happens on Friday and Saturday this week. We're probably hoping for a draw between Magdeburg and Hamburg. At worst, Magdeburg win, probably. You don't want Hamburg winning in any occasion. We've still got to play Magdeburg, so you can win back the points. That's how I'm kind of thinking about it now. And you would expect Magdeburg to not pick up more points than Hamburg from now. So if they can beat them, obviously helps us. But a draw, I think, is probably the best result from that game, in my opinion, for us. And then, you're obviously hoping Darmstadt can beat Köln. So that's what we're hoping for. Paderborn have got to do their own job, of course. Enjoy it. This is kind of why we are fans, to try and enjoy these moments. It's going to be interesting. 9 games to go. There's still a lot of points to play for. 27 points left on the table. And if we just do our job, we will be in the Bundesliga. That is how simple it is. If we can just, do our job and win the games that we need to win, and just do enough, I'm sure this team is good enough to be promoted, even if in the third place position. So that'll do it for me this week. Of course, as has been the kind of case, if it's a huge victory for Paderborn and we get a last-minute winner, I might do an instant reaction podcast. Although probably more likely I'll do it for the Köln game, of course, if we win that one. Especially because we do have the international break, so there's a bit of a kind of time off there, and I want to keep the podcast rolling, so it might not be an instant reaction, but we'll see how it goes. But I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Let's hope Paderborn can get a win and results go their way. But at the end of the day, let's just focus on ourselves here. And obviously, if results go our way, then good. That's a positive, and we have to take that. But if they don't, then you have to just have to keep winning, because look, no team's going to win the last 9 games. Simple as that. It's not going to happen. And if it does, then I'm cursed. But it's not going to happen. No team in that promotion race is going to win the last 9 games. So you've got to win the huge games like this, Kaiserslautern, Köln, Magdeburg, Fortuna Düsseldorf, those sort of games. So let's focus on that then. Yes, I'll speak to you all next week, or maybe at the weekend if it's a huge victory and it feels like it needs an instant reaction. But I'll speak to you all later on, and enjoy.